How you doing? I was just watching a video, and it made me think of an anecdotal video I could do. A short one. They're talking about Edison. Elon Musk was actually the video was about Elon Musk commenting about Tesla, and turn it. And the subject of Edison came up, and the guy was talking about how Edison was, a bit of a, not, he was touted as this great inventor, and he actually was just a great self-promoter and marketer. And that's what he was saying in the video. And, I wasn't such a nice guy, and how he tried to screw Tesla, and, how he tried to convince people that AC was bad, and, he was burning up elephants with AC. Nice guy. He also created the electric chair. It's an interesting one, too. Anyway, the anecdotal part of this is that way back in the mid-1980s, I was a teenager. I think I'm pretty sure I was around 16 at least at the time, because I do remember, I thought I might have been younger, but actually I remember that when I was I went to my cousin's house, and I went to school with him one day when I didn't have school, and that's why I went down to his house, which was some miles away. Anyway, but I knew he was driving at the time. He had some old Japanese car, I think it was Toyota or something. And anyway, I was in his class, in his science class. And I remember this is a high school science class, okay? And at the time, everybody in the class had to be at least 15 or 16 years old. At least, okay? And there was a science teacher. She was talking about Edison. And somehow the subject came up. And the next thing that came out of her mouth, and to this day I still think about it, it's like, made me wince. I was like, what? She said that Edison discovered electricity. I was like, what? I was like, oh my God. So I waited. I'm not the type of person, especially when I was younger, to put my hand up. And I was a guest in this class. I was even in my school. And you know what? I have 20 some odd kids in the class. Not one of them said anything. These are teenagers, okay? And I was like, oh, excuse me. I said, I know it's not my class, but Edison did not discover electricity. I said to her at the time, I think what I said was, I wasn't as well informed, but I did say that, basically electricity, the use of electricity, well, the concept of using electricity was, discovered by Benjamin Franklin and a couple other guys. I couldn't know their names, but I did say that it's a French guy. I think one of them was Dufray. And in fact, there was an English guy, I think an English guy even before that, who had coined the term electricist or something. That's where that came from. And people even knew 5,000 years ago about static electricity. It was just an intellectual curiosity. They had no idea that they could harness it. But guys like Franklin and Dufray and all these other people, they came up with the idea of harnessing electricity. I mean, Franklin was a real inventor, unlike Edison. He may have been an amateur inventor, because he did other things, but he wasn't pretty good. I mean, he invented some, useful things, like the Franklin stove and a few other things. Anyway, the whole part of the story is, here's a high school teacher telling kids that Edison discovered electricity. And nobody balked except me. Now I'm not trying to say that I'm the smartest person in the world. I mean, sometimes I might know something more than the average person, but I was like, really? I was total disbelief and had to say something, so I did. And the teacher didn't look so happy, but at least all those kids in the class knew from then on that let's not promote this myth that Edison discovered anything. Edison was a marketer and a self-promoter, and he hired scientists and stole, actually, a few things, I believe, from other scientists, But he so convinced the world. He said, definitely one of the top self-promoters and marketers in human history, that he was this great inventor. And this was back in the 80s, so you figure this was, Edison was dead for 50 years. And yet, 50 years later, here's a science teacher saying that he discovered electricity. How crazy is that? To me, that seemed crazy at the time, and it still does today. But that's my anecdote. Yeah, that's it.